Okay, we got 4 minutes yet. Feel like I'm down. Doug Wright and Doug Schmidt. Okay. Cool. Are we ready? Ready on the right, ready on the left? Sit down, stand up, fight, 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 or something like that. Everybody ready?
Yeah.
Okay. City Council will come to order. Before I ask the clerk to call the roll, I want to take a moment to clarify that Dolores Ely has been duly appointed by the Republican Party, confirmed by the Dark County Board of Elections, and was duly sworn in at 7 o'clock this evening by Mayor Willman as the new council member, replacing the deceased Dory Howdeshell in the 2nd Ward. So welcome, Mrs. Ely.
Thank you, sir.
And we're glad to have you. So every function of council tonight and every vote will be authorized, and she is a duly sworn member of this Greenville City Council. So I'd ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Godwin,
Here.
Rogers,
Here.
Schmidt,
Here.
Whitaker,
Here.
Wright,
Here.
Baumgartner, Ely.
Here.
Ask that you all please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty, and justice for all.
Thank you all. Okay, I see we do have several people tuned in tonight, and I do appreciate that, and I'm glad you've taken the opportunity to do so. The meeting ID and the password has remained the same for quite a few weeks now. The meeting ID number is 764-911-9533. And once you get onto that on the Zoom to join the meeting, then you put in the password of 670404. And that will get you into the Facebook portion of this meeting, and you can be a participant, either audio or video or both. So we're appreciative of that. Approval of the minutes. You've all received a copy of the last meeting minutes in the mail, or via email. Any additions or corrections? Seeing none, they will stand approved as presented. Approval of the current financial report. You've all received a copy from the auditor's office. Any additions, corrections, or questions for the auditor, or motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Godwin to approve the minutes, the current financial report from the auditor's office. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Godwin,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Okay, carries. Approval of the agenda. At this particular time, I have nothing from the clerk that needs to be added. So the agenda is as is.
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
Motion by Mr. Schmidt to approve the agenda as presented. Discussion on that item? Call the roll, please.
Godwin,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
Okay, public hearing portion. We have nothing scheduled for this evening as such under the public hearing portion, but anyone wishing to address council may do so at this time. I would please ask for the record so that you can be incorporated in the minutes that you give your name and address, and then state your questions or issues for members of council. So it's kind of difficult, no one to come to the microphone, but whoever starts speaking, then we'll give each one a turn. So who may be first?
Council, this is Daniel Eichelberger.
Okay. What's your address, sir?
I'm at 307 West Main Street, just down the street there from City Hall. So I just wanted to just take a moment to address council today. First, I want to thank you all for the work that you do for the city. And I know, I have some conversations with Jeff outside of, the council meetings. I know that you all are trying to do your best in addressing some of the infrastructure problems with the water system and everything. I just wanted to voice my concern with the proposed increases in the water rates and things like that, just as a resident here that, with everything that's going on with the pandemic, I have friends who've lost their positions. I myself did not get an annual increase because of all the COVID measures. So any major increase in utility rates are going to negatively impact myself, my elderly in-laws that live within the city, a number of my friends. And like I said, I know there's a problem, a real problem that needs to be addressed, but I'm just making this effort to encourage council, when you're thinking about voting to increase the rates with the amount that the rates will end up being this year, if the increases go through, that you please consider that there's a lot of people still suffering through no fault of their own. And I know that we need to address the infrastructure, and I'm not opposed to increases per se, but the amount of the increase just seems like it's going to be pretty bad, and especially for those on fixed incomes. So again, I know that nobody there is trying to just make it hard on everybody, but just encouraging council to please, remember the residents, and remember that some people, because of the COVID situation, have been really impacted, and any increase in their bills is going to really negatively impact them. So anyhow, that's all I had to say. I just wanted to make a comment to you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Whoever would be next, speak up, please.
This is
My name
Connie
is Jan
Smith.
Clay.
Oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead, Connie.
Okay. This is Connie Smith. I don't live within the city limits, but I do own a rental in the city limits. And I pay for the water because it's a duplex and there's only 1 meter. So I had one that just signed a lease. 1 unit is empty right now. So I'm locked into whatever the rent is currently. And if that water goes up, that's going to make it very difficult for me financially, because I can't just go in. I've got a contract. I can't just go in and say, hey, I'm going to raise your rent, because I have a binding contract with them. So that, for anybody that's got, rental properties in Greenville, that's going to make a very tough situation for them as well.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else?
All right, my name is Jan Clay. I am a current resident in Greenville, Ohio. I live at 525 Harrison Avenue. I'm currently a renter, and I'm considering buying a house. And if the rates go up, you're going to drive people like me out of the city, out of the community. So I'm not sure how that's going to benefit the community as a whole. I understand there's problems, but didn't last year we just spend a lot of money to put in a splash pad downtown? I mean, if you can get grants and stuff for that, how are you going to justify putting the debt on the city taxpayers to fix what could have been fixed all these years coming? And I would just want to reiterate everything everybody's already said about it. Yeah, I agree 100%. I can't afford it. My water bill January was $200. So with the imposed rate increases, I'm looking at a $350 water bill coming up. I can't afford that. That's all I got.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? I'd like to give you time if you care to speak, but if no one is speaking up, we will have to move the agenda. So I see several people, and that's fine. But if you'd like to address council, please do so. Okay, seeing no one coming forward at this time, we will move the agenda and go on to administrative reports, and starting with Mayor Willman.
Thank you, Council President. Hold my mic down. Maybe just make a couple comments here, to just talking about water rates. I encourage everyone out there to call in the utilities office here at the city building. I don't know what kind of figures that you've had or you've gotten from anywhere else. The last statement didn't quite make sense. The billing is quarterly. We're thinking about going monthly. When you talk about January, that's probably a quarterly bill. So it's, I'm not sure if you got all the figures right. Just make sure that you check, make sure you do have the figures
Did
right.
get the figures right.
What's-
It is quarterly. That was my January bill for 3 months, sir. So regardless,
Yeah, that's
of
what I'm
it's quarterly
saying.
or not, my $200 water bill for water is still going to increase by, I think, 50% at the beginning, and another 20% later. So figure that before you say I didn't get my figures right.
No, I was asking. I just want to make sure that you have them right, because it
Oh, I have
doesn't
it right.
quite
I paid
sound
the
like
bill.
it. Right, but you should check and make sure. That's all I'm saying.
I checked when I paid the bill, and the bill was $200 in January. So maybe you should check before you just increase people's utilities.
Okay, I'm not going to debate with you now. I'm going to finish my report. So I just encourage you people to check, make sure that they're figuring it right. That's all I'm saying.
Mm.
So thanks a
This
lot.
is a debate. That's why I called in, but thank you.
Okay. All right, so that's pretty much what I wanted to say on that right now, that I think the council should really make sure that they due diligence, I can't say it, due diligence on their thoughts and what they think that we should do with water rates. And I'm the one that did bring it up when we first started talking about it, because I think it's highly needed. We do need to make some adjustments and raise rates. The reason that it is going up so much is we're trying to make up a little ground from not quite getting behind, but we're kind of behind in trying to get things done for the city. We got a responsibility to make sure that we do plan and we do what's right for the residents and for the city. Yes, there's going to be people complain, and I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. We do need to hear it, but sometimes that's what we're elected for, is to make sure that we do the right thing and plan for the future. What rates we do raise is up to council. I encourage them to, the committee, we had a committee study this already. They came up with those rates. They all agreed on it. And so we're now looking at the report. We had the third reading coming up tonight. is something that really needs to get done. Yes, it's, I don't doubt there's people out there where it could hurt, but and I'm sorry about that, but I don't know what else to do about it. Yeah, we're in the same spot as everybody else, that our costs go up too. And we need to make sure that we can afford to take care of the water and make sure that the residents don't get sick. If we have major problems, that's a possibility. You've seen other places where cities have problems with water and they've skimped along, and we don't want that to happen for the city of Greenville. And if anything like that would happen, where the water towers we lose water, lose pressure, it's going to cost a lot more. So this is really the plan to go down, is to really go after, and it is up to council, but we need to make up a little ground. So we'll see how it goes tonight.
If we're not behind, excuse me, sir, if we're not behind, why are we making up ground? I'm sorry. Maybe I should have commented earlier.
Sir, what is your name? And besides, the public hearing portion is over, but I would accept your name and address if you have a question, but
Sure.
only if you give us your name and address, please.
Sure. My name is Donovan Pressler. I live at 775 Gardenwood Drive here in Greenville.
What's the question?
And my question simply is, you said we weren't behind, but yet we need to make up ground. It seems like a contradiction. I'm trying to understand.
Right, I understand what you're saying. Probably my thoughts are a little bit contradictory as they came out and you heard them. What I want to try to say is, or explain is, our water rates are like kind of the place where we're barely operating without a major problem. If we have a major problem, a major water line break, that type of thing, we could run into some serious problems because we could run out of money to fix those things, fix those problems. So yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I'm trying to say it in a way that you understand it, but or I can explain it to you. So that's kind of it. I mean, yeah, we can operate for the next year, maybe the way we are, but then you're starting to get really, really close to problems. If we have major pumps go out, if we have major lines break, we could be looking at some serious problems. So we don't want that to happen. And where the water lines are, and we've talked about the one major water line that we'd like to get fixed soon or replaced. It's 120, 30, 40, 30 years old. It's like, how long is it going? You think it's going to last? I don't know. And I don't want that to happen. So that's kind of my explanation. So I'll move on to the next thing then. So you got my mayor's report. Everybody got it out. I handed it out, or Jessica handed it out. I'm sorry. So
Yes, Mr. Mayor, and I'd like to make sure that the clerk enters into the minutes that council has received the annual mayor's report for 2020.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I took a little time, and I know there's a lot of stuff here. Like I say, every year, there's a lot in this. I mean, every department has input to this. They show a lot of financials. They show a lot of goals. They want to tell you about what their plans are and within this budget for this year, and what they want to plan even for this year now, coming year, not just 2020. So for my report myself on the front, I talk a lot. This is the longest one I've made out. And it just felt like I talk about COVID a lot and the virus and what has happened and how it worked for the city and the things we had to do. And it's briefly, there's so much, but I briefly touched on several different items financially and for how we had to manage through the virus, on people going into quarantine, getting sick, and what the regulations are, and trying to figure out how they fit us and the administration staff. And it was a daily event almost that have to change things. How do we determine how this person is able to work. Should they be home working? Should they be on quarantine? Should they be in isolation? What that meant to our businesses and our community and how that affected them. And we were able to raise a little bit of money. It was kind of a cool deal that we were able to give out some money to some of the businesses. And I'd say in there the thanks for those people that did donate. Thanks for the people that distributed that money. And there's just a lot there about COVID. I just wanted to make sure that it was written down on some of the things that we went through, kind of like just for a memory and to keep it somewhere that it's always going to be around as far as in my report. And then the rest of it talks a little bit about the goals we want to do, the successes we had in this past year, some of the projects we were able to do. And just to talk a little bit about, there was a question about some of the projects that happened in the last year or two and they were grants. And it was wonderful stuff that people stepped up and were able to do things like that. We're planning on doing more projects, and we got a lot of grant money that we'll be able to spend to make things better for the city. So, and also at the end, I want to make sure that people understand that this year is not going to be even, it could be even worse than last year. We just don't know. That we need to stay guarded on our spending and make sure that it's going to be the right thing to do. So we're having meetings now and trying to plan and trying to make sure that all the things that we want to do are going to be able to spend that money to make sure it's right and it goes to the right place and it's efficient. So, and then I always said, if you do anything at all, it'd be great if everybody read through this whole thing. But if you do anything at all, read all the first pages, the cover pages for all the departments. And it's very interesting to see the accomplishments that people made and our departments made and the people. And we really appreciate that. So thanks a lot. If anybody has questions on that, let me know. Because even the councilmen that are not here, I'm sure they'll be in your folder when you stop in. So thanks a lot. I passed on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Safety Service Director. Mr. Delk.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I want to talk a little bit about our landfill, our closed city landfill. So we're at year 30 of post-closure. So we've been closed for 30 years here in 2021. And a little bit of potential good news. I'm currently working with Hall and Associates, who is the engineering firm that we contract with to help us get through all the EPA regulations that we still have to follow on that closed landfill. And we're trying to get, so we don't have to do as much water well testing out there, which could potentially save us a substantial amount of money. Landfills, just a quick cover is when we first closed it, I think they said, okay, in 20 years, you guys won't have to mess with it anymore. It'll just be green space. And then it seems like every 10, it's like, well, we'll go another 10, we'll go another 10, we'll go another 10. Well, here we are at year 30 and we're going another 10 and we're probably going to go another 30. But there is a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. It's never going to be rid of as far as an expense goes, but we are moving in a positive direction. So a little positive note for the night. Second thing, just to make the public and council aware. So starting tomorrow, EJ Prescott and the water department will be out mainly starting in the south end. And a lot of residents will start to see some blue dots maybe in their front yard. And that is part of our ArcGIS that EJ Prescott is putting together with us. That's our mapping system that shows where all our valves are, curb boxes, water lines, sizes, flow directions. And it's going to take basically the entire year to get that project completed. But once it gets completed, we'll know where every valve is in the city. We'll be able to isolate problems. And this is all through the EPA. It's all part of our asset management, which the EPA has put into law now. And so I just want to make everyone aware that if they see someone out in their yard digging around a little bit, they're looking for a curb stop or a valve. And lastly, and I guess I don't want to step on your toes, Mr. President, but I just wanted to make an announcement that we are going to start allowing some limited capacity here in the council chambers. we've kind of been talking about it the last week or so. Obviously, we're still going to always have the Zoom option until we can't have the Zoom option anymore. Or that's not not an acceptable sunshine law. And we do have to watch, we ask everyone to wear a mask. We ask everyone to stay socially distant. We do feel like we could easily get 10 people in here and stay socially distant in council chambers. If we would happen to get an influx of people, we're going to kind of have to address that, maybe let people come in and speak and then leave. But we'll work through those as we get them. And with that, I will pass.
Okay, thank you. Just for council's edification, I was given a call by the administration this afternoon wanting to know if that would be possible to let people start coming into the meetings. And again, proper distancing and the whole measure still followed, and masking involved for the audience. We here at council chambers, I don't know if you can see it on Zoom or not, but we do have barriers in between us. And not in front of us, but between us, so that we hopefully aren't spreading germs in that direction. And we just asked everyone's cooperation. I am appreciative of the people who are Zooming in, more so tonight more than any other time. And I'm glad that's happened, because it's not this council's intent to try to do anything outside of the public eye. So we're glad that you're paying attention. Okay, moving on. Law Director, Mr. Reeman.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Just one item for council this evening is to let council know that the city was named in a lawsuit. It's a slip and fall injury that happened with a private sewer manhole, so we'll be defending that. The issue that came up in this one is that the manhole sits between two properties, and no one took ownership of the manhole. So in situations like that, the plaintiffs often name everybody that could have a possible interest. So we don't think that we have liability exposure there. We'll defend the lawsuit accordingly, but wanted to let council know that was the case. And with that, I'll pass.
Okay, thank you. And City Auditor, Mrs. Woman.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. I just wanted to notify council that today a checking account at Greenville National Bank for the Community Housing Improvement Program was closed, and the funds were transferred to the county commissioners. These are the CHIP program monies, and the city is no longer administering that. It belongs to the county is now doing it. So we had some properties that were closed. So we had the funds and we finally got them transferred. I believe we had legislation within the past 2 or 3 weeks to get that accomplished. So I did want to let you know that the account has been closed. And with that, Mr. Council President, I will pass.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on, we have one committee report out of the Finance Committee this evening.
To Greenville City Council from the Finance Committee. The Finance Committee met to discuss distribution of the community funds for 2021. This is what we recommend. Darke County Visitors Bureau, $16,700. Main Street Greenville, $16,700. Darke County Horseshoe Tournament, $1,500. Darke County Horseshoe Club Ringer, $1,500. Community Events Appropriation, $12,000. YOLO of Darke County, $3,000. Fireworks Reserve, $10,000. Union Cemetery, $5,000. From Doug Schmidt, the chairman, Jeff Whitaker, the vice chairman, and Leon Rogers, member.
Okay, you've heard the community funds distribution report.
You need a motion to accept the committee report.
Motion by Mr. Godwin to accept the committee's report. Discussion. Call roll, please.
Godwin,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
Okay, now with that passing, I think legislation is prepared for that distribution. So that will become item number 9 under ordinances and resolutions.
I don't think so there's legislation this evening to transfer the funds into the CHIP account, but I don't think the specific ordinance for those distributions is ready. It is? It's
Oh,
not-
it
we'll do
isn't?
that next.
Okay, it'll have to be next time. Okay, scratch that.
So that's part of the supplemental, transfers the funds into the CHIP, and then we'll do the specific legislation for the distributions.
Okay, okay. Again, for all of you edification, the community funds again are derived from the bed taxes that are placed on the hotel motels, lodging tax, if you will. And we then turn around and distribute those back into the community for various community functions and events. So, okay, well, Finance Committee, then I will relieve you of that assignment. You've completed that. Thank you very much. Moving on to ordinances and resolution. The very first one is the ordinance amending certain rates and ordinances relating to water and sewer fees and utilities billing was given the first reading on February what was it?
16th.
16th, and
First reading was the second.
first reading was February 2nd.
Okay. And this
And then the second one was 16th, and today by title only. So today is the third reading.
An ordinance amending certain rates and ordinances relating to water and sewer fees and utilities billing. This ordinance amends certain rates and ordinances relating to water and sewer fees and utilities billing. Water rates for the city of Greenville will increase by 50% effective May 1st, 2021, and by an additional 18% on November 1st, 2021. Sewer rates will increase by 25% effective May 1st, 2021, and by an additional 10% on November 1st, 2021. Additionally, the city of Greenville will switch to monthly utilities billing effective May 1st, 2021.
Move to adopt.
Motion by Mr. Whitaker to adopt the ordinance. Discussion.
Can I make a motion to table this?
Yes, the chair recognizes a motion by Mr. Godwin to table this ordinance. That is non-debatable. There's no discussion on that ordinance, or on that motion, excuse me. So I'd ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Godwin,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
No.
Wright,
Yes.
Ely.
No.
The motion carries is to table 4-2. Okay, so that is tabled until the next regular scheduled meeting, which time it will appear under old business. Next, we have a resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director enter into agreement to purchase a truck to be used by the Water Department, was given its first reading by title only on the 16th of February.
A resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to enter into an agreement to purchase a truck to be used by the Water Department. This resolution authorizes the Safety Service Director to enter into an agreement to purchase a Ford F-250 to be used by the Water Department.
Move to suspend the rules and give this resolution to reading by title only, second and third time.
That'll be only the third time.
Third time, I'm sorry.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Whitaker to suspend the rules, read the resolution by title third time. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Godwin,
No.
Rogers,
No.
Schmidt,
No.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
No.
Ely.
No.
Okay, the motion lays over till the next regularly scheduled meeting. Motion to suspend did not pass. Okay, item 3, supplemental appropriations ordinance.
An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Greenville, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2021. The supplemental ordinance allows for appropriations in the general fund as follows. Transfer elected auditor and treasurer in the amount of $95,488. These funds are needed for transfer to the general bond retirement fund for 2021 note payment. Community Events Council expense in the amount of $12,000 and Community Funds Council expense in the amount of $56,431.19. These funds are needed for disbursement for the 2021 Community Fund request and were provided by the city bed taxes collected in 2020. Darke County Economic Development Council expense in the amount of $17,500. These funds are needed for disbursement to the Darke County Economic Development Partnering for Progress. Downtown Christmas lights, planter box downtown, in the amount of $1,000. These funds are needed for the purchase of downtown Christmas lights and were provided by a donation from the Grayson Steyer Memorial Fund.
Move to suspend the rules, give this ordinance a second, third reading by title only.
Motion by Mr. Schmidt to suspend the rules, read the ordinance by title second and third time. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Godwin,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Greenville, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2021. An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Greenville, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2021.
Move to adopt the ordinance.
Motion by Mr. Rogers to adopt the ordinance. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Godwin,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
And next, we have a resolution authorizing submission of proposals with ODOT for grants for the Ohio Transportation or Transit Partnership Program, OTP2, and execution of contracts with ODOT upon grant acceptance.
A resolution authorizing submission of proposals with the Ohio Department of Transportation for grants for the Ohio Transit Partnership Program, OTP2, and execution of contracts with the Ohio Department of Transportation upon grant proposals acceptance. This resolution authorizes the mayor to submit proposals with the Ohio Department of Transportation for grants for the Ohio Transit Partnership Program, OTP2, and execution of contracts with ODOT upon grant proposal acceptance.
Move to suspend the rules, give this resolution second and third reading by title only.
Motion by Mr. Rogers to suspend the rules and read the resolution by title second and third time. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Godwin,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
A resolution authorizing submission of proposals with the Ohio Department of Transportation for grants for the Ohio Transit Partnership Program, OTP2, and execution of contracts with the Ohio Department of Transportation upon grant proposals acceptance. A resolution authorizing submission of proposals with the Ohio Department of Transportation for grants for the Ohio Transit Partnership Program, OTP2, and execution of contracts with the Ohio Department of Transportation upon grant proposals acceptance.
Motion to adopt.
Motion from Mr. Godwin to adopt the resolution. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Godwin,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
And then next, we have a resolution authorizing submission of proposals with ODOT to grants other than urbanized areas of the Ohio Elderly and Disabled Transit Fare Assistance Program and execution of contract with ODOT up to the grant acceptance. Wow, that's a mouthful.
A resolution authorizing submission of proposals with the Ohio Department of Transportation for grants for other than urbanized areas, the Ohio Elderly and Disabled Transit Fare Assistance Program, and execution of a contract with the Ohio Department of Transportation upon grant proposal acceptance for calendar year 2022. This resolution authorizes the mayor to submit proposals with the Ohio Department of Transportation for grants other than urbanized areas, the Ohio Elderly and Disabled Transit Fare Assistance Program, and execution of a contract with ODOT upon grant proposal acceptance for calendar year 2022.
Make a motion to suspend the rules on this resolution and read it by title only, second and third time.
Motion from Mr. Godwin to suspend the rules, read the resolution by title second and third time. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Godwin,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
A resolution authorizing submission of proposals with the Ohio Department of Transportation for grants for other than urbanized areas, the Ohio Elderly and Disabled Transit Fare Assistance Program, and execution of a contract with the Ohio Department of Transportation upon grant proposal acceptance for calendar year 2022. A resolution authorizing submission of proposals with the Ohio Department of Transportation for grants for other than urbanized areas, the Ohio Elderly and Disabled Transit Fare Assistance Program, and execution of a contract with the Ohio Department of Transportation upon grant proposal acceptance for calendar year 2022.
Move to adopt the resolution.
Motion by Mr. Rogers to adopt the resolution. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Godwin,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
And next we have resolution waiving the civil service exam fees for 2021 and declaring an emergency.
A resolution waiving the civil service exam fees for 2021 and declaring an emergency. This resolution waives the $25 civil service exam fee for all positions during the calendar year 2021. This resolution has an emergency clause.
Move to suspend the rules and give this reading second and third reading by title only.
Motion by Mr. Whitaker to suspend the rules, read the resolution by title, second and third time. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Godwin,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
A resolution waiving the civil service exam fees for 2021 and declaring an emergency. A resolution waiving the civil service exam fees for 2021 and declaring an emergency.
Move to adopt the emergency clause.
Motion by Mr. Rogers to adopt the emergency clause. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Godwin,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
Move to adopt the resolution.
A motion by Mr. Rogers to adopt the resolution. Discussion?
Yeah, Ryan, are we getting more people applying for these now since we're waiving this?
Some, not near as many as we'd like. You know, back in the day, we would get 80 applicants. We're lucky to get 6 now.
Okay,
Further discussion
thank you.
or questions? Okay, the motion is to adopt the resolution with the emergency clause. Call the roll, please.
Godwin,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
And next we have a resolution authorizing the bidding, authorizing bidding for contracts for March Street Water Main Replacement Project.
A resolution authorizing bidding for contracts for the March Street Water Main Replacement Project. This resolution authorizes bidding for the necessary improvements and replacement of the March Street Water Main.
Move to suspend the rules and give this resolution its second and third reading by title only.
Motion by Mr. Whitaker to suspend the rules, read the resolution by title, second and third time. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Godwin,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
A resolution authorizing bidding for contracts for the March Street Water Main Replacement Project. A resolution authorizing bidding for contracts for the March Street Water Main Replacement Project.
Move to adopt.
Motion by Mr. Whitaker to adopt the resolution. Discussion? Call the roll.
Godwin,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
And next, item 8, we have authorizing, resolution authorizing Safety Service Director to apply for funding through recreational trails or the Clean Ohio Trails Fund program.
A resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to apply for funding through the Recreational Trails or the Clean Ohio Trails Fund program. This resolution authorizes the Safety Service Director to apply for funding through the Recreational Trails Program, RTP, or the Clean Ohio Trails Fund Program, COTF.
Make a motion to suspend the rules on this resolution and read it by title only, second and third time.
Motion by Mr. Godwin to suspend the rules and read the resolution by title, second and third time. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Godwin,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
A resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to apply for funding through the Recreational Trails or the Clean Ohio Trails Fund program. A resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to apply for funding through the Recreational Trails or the Clean Ohio Trails Fund program.
Move to adopt the resolution.
Motion by Mr. Rogers to adopt the resolution. Discussion?
I have
Call
a
roll.
quick question.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. If we do get this grant, what areas are we looking at using this for?
This will finish the trail from South Ohio down to the Bish Discovery Center, like connect that portion there on Ohio Street.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Further discussion or questions? Okay, the motion is to adopt. Call roll, please.
Godwin,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
Okay, that concludes our ordinances and resolutions for this evening. There's nothing under old or new business either. What communications do we have, clerk?
We received the monthly report of January from the Transit Department and the monthly report of February from the Income Tax Department.
Anything further under communications? See none? We'll call down the council, please.
Godwin,
Yeah, I'd just like to thank everybody for zooming in. And, one of these days we should be able to get back to, people coming to council chambers. And the mayor touched on people need to call the water department. And if you don't have the phone number, it's 937-548-1815. And you can call them and they got a lot of information on the water rates. And the mayor's office is 937-548-1819. And you can talk to them too if that phone line's busy. And with that, the last one we passed was about the trails. My wife and I went into the park this weekend and did some walking around, and a lot of the paved trails they've done pretty nice for the city of Greenville. And I'd like to welcome Miss Ely down there on the city council. And with that, I'll pass.
Rogers,
Yes, I also would like to thank all the people that phoned in and spoke tonight to the council and helped us make a decision maybe. So anyway, that, is a plus because we have to listen to the people too. So I appreciate you calling in and or listening tonight. Also, I want to welcome Dolores to our team here, and hopefully she'll be a good asset for the city of Greenville. With that, I pass.
Schmidt,
I too would like to thank the people that took time to share their opinions tonight. We do appreciate that, and please continue to do that. And Dolores, welcome aboard. You picked a good night to start. So with that, I will pass.
Whitaker,
Want to welcome Dolores Ely, of course, to fill Dory's seat. We'll always remember her. Dolores, I know, will do a fine job. She's been involved in the community extensively, and just want to say thank you for your willingness to serve. I truly want to thank everybody who took the time to call in tonight about the water rates. And I just want to really make you understand that I'm sitting here not wanting to raise water rates. I would love not to have to do it. But, after sitting in on many meetings with the Utilities Committee, that Clarence Godwin heads up, they've done a lot of due diligence in finding out what needs to be done through the water department, who, by the way, last February, when we first started talking about water rates, they proposed a 300% increase, tripling our water rates. And we knew that just could not happen. And the committee did a great job in making the water department identify the immediate needs, which includes a new main line, which has been in the ground since the 1890s and will cost about $1.5 million to $2 million. Is that right? $1.5 million. That's a lot of money that we don't have. And if we don't do that, if we have a water main break, the other project we'll have to address soon is a new water tower an added water tower because we only have 12 hours of emergency water. So imagine if our water main breaks and we have 12 hours of water. I don't want to be sitting here as a member of city council who did nothing about this and have to answer up for why we don't have any water. That's not a good thing. Unfortunately, water is a necessity of life, you know, and I took the time actually to do what Mr. Delk and Mr. Willman and Mr. Godwin suggested and called the water department and found out that my water rates are going to increase $13.10 a month. And that's with a little bit more usage than what I had been doing quarterly. I added a little bit more just to see what that rate would be. My rates go up $13.10 a month. That is indeed an increase. I will grant that. It's not as consequential as it would be if we had a water main break and no water for the citizens. And I don't want to take that. I don't want to take that chance. The city of Dayton dealt with that last summer, and they're still dealing with problems with their water mains. And it wasn't a good situation there. I don't want that for the citizens of Greenville. I got elected, and I will always try my best to deliver the best service and the best representation to the people of Greenville. And, you know, I feel what you're saying. I really do. My rates are going to go up as well as everybody else's in this room. I don't know what else to say about it, except I want to represent you well and do what's in the best interest in the long term for the city. And that's why I'm here. With that, I pass.
Right.
Dolores, welcome to the Greenville City Council.
Thank you.
You'll be a big asset to the city. One of the things that hasn't been mentioned tonight is the number of water main breaks that occurred last winter within a very short period of time. We do need a new main water line coming up from the water plant to the city. People don't realize the amount of money it costs, the time it takes to survey, to find the lines, the valves, and it's not getting any cheaper. I don't want to pay any more, but that's just part of life. And we have to do what's best for the citizens of the city. For that, I'll pass.
Ely.
I want to thank you all for welcoming me to be a part of this organization and to be, I'm very interested in our city. And I think sometimes it wasn't really made known to me about the water situation until I sat in another meeting and heard some conversations. And I know that increases are always difficult, but decisions have to be made that service all of us, and I can appreciate it. I'm on a fixed income, and I know I don't necessarily want to pay an increase, but I also realize that, we all practice the fine art of budgeting. So when you think about Mr. Whitaker's comment about $13 and something, think of one small thing that you can give up that covers that expense. Now, I know that sounds very simplistic, but I always look at my budget and go, well, I really don't need to have desserts all the time. I'd like to, and I'd like to say that, we need to be responsible. And you're looking at a group of people who only want the best for you. And sometimes we have to be like, you have to take a parental rule and go, you may not like this, but in the long run, you're going to appreciate it. So again, thank you all for making me feel very welcome tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
President Burkett.
Well, again, I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in that did tune in, and thank Mrs. Ely once again. and let her to know in this whirlwind of about the last 3 days, her name is now on the books of city council journals for perpetuity. And you are down in history, my dear. And I understand by the way, the grapevine, that she has probably one of the finest biological science educations ever received at Greenville High School.
That's right.
Some of you may get that joke, some of you may not, but that's okay. Anyway, yes, we're happy that people step up to help make the city good and better. And it does take a lot of due diligence, has been a term been thrown around a lot. And I don't really know of many decisions that have been made by this council in my tenure that have not been made with a considerable amount of research and rationale by the council members. And yes, none of us would really like to have an increase, but on the same token, it's just a fact of life. So with that, again, I'd like to thank everyone for their attendance and thank everyone for tuning in. Again, I'd like to reiterate what the Safety Service Director mentioned, that in the future, on a limited basis, we may be able to have some people here in the building. Ask that you respect other people's wishes as well, and respect other people's privacy and desire to be social distance, another term that is new in our vocabulary now. So, please consider that as you come to council, and we will try to give you all due consideration possible. One thing that kind of stuck in my mind just a little bit, I do this occasionally when I'm zooming in. Down at the bottom of the screen is a little camera and a little microphone. And if there's a red line through it, you're not going to be heard. So if you don't turn your microphone on, you can't talk to us. If you turn it off or it's not on, you're kind of dead in the water. Also, if you turn on the camera, then we can see you as well as you can see us. So anyway, again, thank you so much. And with that, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Whitaker to adjourn. Call the roll, please.
Godwin,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Healy.
Yes.
Thank you all and good night.